there's a guy standing next to the place where I'm about to pay, and I
For your pillows.
I put the first pillow down, and it took up the whole space.
Unexpected item in the bagging area.
So, and this guy's standing there, and I said, "Excuse me," I said, "I think I'm going to need. I'm going to need some help with the other pillow." And he went.
What did he say? Exactly how many pillows have you got?
And he said, "I'm terribly sorry, I'm on my break."
Oh, come on.
Sorry.
Welcome. We are Grumpy. We are Mark. We are Kev. And we are Mike. And we're kicking off with a mic. What have you got for us, Mike?
Well, do you know how I'm always banging on about people who work from home should basically be taken out and shot?
Yes.
Well, or at least dragged into the office, right?
And then shot.
And then shot, yeah. Apparently, there's a new trend amongst TikTokers, of which I'm not one. You might not be surprised to know.
Really?
TikTok is an abomination, as far as I can tell. But there are people now who have made a sort of speciality out of going to the office. So what they do is they film themselves going into the office, as if that's some kind of amazing, unusual place to be, as if they've, discovered the Gobi Desert, or they've suddenly decided
Are
to
they
go...
educationally subnormal, these
Well, some of them work in PR, so probably. But basically, they film themselves walking into a lift and go, and here I am in the lift. And then they show themselves sitting at a desk. And in one case, there was a woman who had a laptop. She opened up her laptop and said, and here I am, and luckily I've got my favourite hot desk.
I think I've seen some of this. It's like, join me.
Yeah.
On my day to work. No, I'm all right, actually.
Yeah, join me on my day to work, as if it's something really unusual. And apparently, some companies are encouraging their employees to do it.
Which companies are these?
Well, probably
It's not Nabisco,
companies.
is it?
It's probably not Nabisco.
Right.
They're telling them, if you make it look attractive, maybe some people might want to come back to the office.
Now, is Kev doing that now? Is that what you're doing?
I'm filming myself
at work.
Yeah.
It's just that I think that this is the new iteration of, remember in the old days, people would take pictures of their meals. No, but, like in the early days of social media, oh, look, here's my dinner. Have a look at that.
I still do
So
that.
it's got.
I still do that one.
I don't post it, but I still take pictures.
So we've now moved on to filming your entire day at work.
Hold on a second. Does
It's
this
a fashion right
now?
now.
No, hold on. So you're saying we all started out taking a picture of our dinner going, this is what I'm eating.
Yes.
Right? But isn't there another thing on TikTok where it's like dishing up dinner?
Yes.
Where people, it's like, well, no.
Well, I'm not an expert on TikTok, see, because I don't look at it. The only time it's drawn to my attention is when I see a story written about it in a newspaper.
Oh, you mean
right?
you don't have TikTok?
Well, I did have it for a while, and I got rid of it because I turned out that
I don't know. I think
in it.
the good people of talk, the listeners, would like to see Mike have his own TikTok.
I think I am on it. I think there was a time when we were doing all sorts of things around the TV.
Would you do a TikTok dance?
No.
No?
No.
What about...
Absolutely not.
What about you dishing up your dinner?
No, I wouldn't. I use Facebook, I use Twitter, I use Instagram a little bit. That's it.
What about you cooking dinner? Because you did have a cooking podcast.
I did have a cooking podcast, which was audio only, funnily enough, which was actually quite challenging because you could hear the sounds of the onions frying, for example, which I thought was rather nice.
That could have been anything. It could have been, I don't know, someone's skin.
You could be faking them up. You could be faking them
Hannibal
up.
Lecter's,
using sound, rubbing bricks together and things like that.
I could have been. I once went to...
He's a Foley artist.
I know. I once went to a radio play.
Yeah, they're great, aren't they, when they do all that?
And they had a guy with a box and sand and shoes around.
Couple of coconut.
It was brilliant.
Couple of coconuts
this
for a horse trotting.
Ago, of course. But I see, I believe in the magic of illusion.
Yes.
And sometimes it's better not to see things.
But isn't that the issue with social media, is the stripping back of any illusion?
You see everything.
But somehow creating it as well. Like, I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
They don't show them weeping in a toilet cubicle at work because nobody likes them because they keep filming themselves.
Exactly right. And the byproduct of all of this as well, apparently, is that some people now are getting interested in possibly going to the office because they've gone, oh, that looks like
I can film myself.
That's a good thing then.
So that would be a good thing. But they've also now taken to, apparently, when they go and be interviewed for jobs and things, they ask questions like, do you have a canteen? Or, is there going to be an office Christmas party? So all these sort of things that have nothing to do with work, but they want to be drawn into an office to do all these other things.
Because nobody really wants
nothing to
to
do
work.
with work.
And
why not?
I mean,
I do.
Well, I do.
I love work.
We come from a generation that works. That's why we're grumpy.
That's true.
Yeah.
Nobody else is doing it.
But
I find it's a good way to get money by working.
yes. Yes.
That's true. What you mean? Not getting it on benefits.
Well, I mean,
a quarter of Gen Z.
I need educating. There are easier ways of getting money.
Rumour has it they're scaling those back, though.
Well, supposedly, but you can be sure that they'll scale back the wrong stuff.
Yes.
And they'll take it off some poor disabled person.
Yep.
And the young whippersnapper who could perfectly well work will continue to get the benefits.
I mean, what we could do is, because we work, with our collective salaries, we could club together, buy ourselves a dinghy and sod off somewhere else.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, I think...
Throw our phones and passports over the side.
The tide is all coming this way, though, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to get away from...
Well, I mean,
people seem to float up on our shores. From
I think both you and Kev are definitely what one would describe as leading edge. We could set a new trend.
Yeah.
We go the other way.
Americans hate us because we're addicted to welfare. And recently, when we had that benefit scandal...
When
that benefit scandal...
Speak for yourself.
I mean, I haven't now. Not now.
But when that benefit scandal erupted a couple of weeks ago, what did we get on tour? Loads of people ringing up saying, well, I claimed for my bad eye and I never got it. It's not fair. Everybody just saying, where's my benefits? Where's my benefits? Where's my welfare? This nation is just addicted to handouts.
As opposed to, where's my job?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Go out and earn your... We should have the American way. Cancel welfare. If you don't work, you starve.
I tell you where your job isn't. Sitting at home in your pants.
Sitting at home in your pants is not
Although we've been sort of fed the illusion that sitting at home in your pants is now working.
Because people were told
it was when I was a TV critic, literally.
But you were lucky enough to have a job.
That's a very unique
it's an unusual job. I accept that.
Some people wouldn't call it a job at all. But I mean,
including me.
I wouldn't be one of those.
Including me.
But I mean, here's the other thing: is that we were all encouraged not to go to the office for such a long time, and a lot of these Gen Xers now, Gen Zers,
you've got to go back.
Gen Zers have never been in an office. But some of them are in their mid-20s have never been in an office. I
would like, personally, and I'm sure some of the viewers and listeners would, and feel free to put it in the comments box, would like to see Mike's day at work on TikTok.
Well, I mean, I did used to put stuff... I mean, I am on TikTok because a lot of my clips go on TikTok and some of them do quite well. But there was a time when I tried to do my own TikTok stuff and it didn't really go anywhere.
Did you keep getting... This is sensitive content, please do not...
I didn't get that, no, because it wasn't that sensitive.
I've got a TikTok.
This is insensitive.
Maybe that's insensitive. I could have done that.
I've got a TikTok account, and I get hundreds of thousands of views. Apparently, sometimes I have no idea how to get onto it. I've never even.
Well, there's just clips from the shows.
Is it kind of an alternative, Kev, where you're charming and lovely, and then people in their droves share that?
TikTokers are pretty sound. I mean. They like right-wing old blokes. They're young, but they like right-wing old blokes.
Now, talking of right-wing old blokes, Kev, putting the clocks back and forward.
Well, we just had it this weekend, didn't we? Just gone, where the clocks went forward. And then later in the year, they go back again. And you think, why are we doing this? Why do we do this twice every year? And there is no real reason. We started doing it in 1916 in the First World War because if we put the clocks forward, it meant that the days would be lighter and therefore people would need less coal. So it was good for power.
It didn't seem like so many people were dying.
The war. So it was.
But I mean, farmers previously have been blamed for this as well.
Yeah, but it was innovated as part of the First World War effort. But actually, funnily enough, both in Britain and in Germany. I think the Germans started it.
Peter Hitchens claims it was some mad sort of German military
Prussian
man.
guy,
Prussian
but
character.
we spotted they were doing it, so we did it. So here we are, more than 100 years on, still doing it twice every year. And when you got some dog like mine that gets you up every day at about 5 in the morning anyway, and then the clocks go back and you find yourself getting up at 3 in the morning, you think, what on earth is going on? Yeah. So I just don't know why we do this.
Do you know what I find slightly annoying is previously it was a really good excuse for being late.
Yeah.
And now our phones do it naturally.
Yeah, exactly right. Because
you can't even use that. Sorry,
when I was a kid working in the bakery, like I've told you about before, you'd often get at least one person on the Sunday who would come in, and either an hour early or an hour late because they'd forgotten to change the clocks.
Yes.
Because, as you say, there was no automatic changing of the clocks. There wasn't. Yeah. I mean, I woke up, funnily enough, the other morning, a couple of weeks ago, convinced, I don't know why, that the clocks had changed. And I was on my own in the house. Nobody else was there, just me and the dog. And, of course, he couldn't help me.
No.
And I'm wondering about...
Try as he might.
Some of the clocks, and most of the clocks in the house don't change. And so I was thinking, why haven't they changed? Why hasn't the one in the oven changed?
Bit of a sort of Quatermass moment.
It is.
For you,
and then I looked at my phone and that hadn't changed either. And I thought, what's going on? Yeah. You know, the clocks have changed, but nothing's changed.
Yeah.
And
Alexa, what's happening?
It took me a good 20 minutes to work out, actually, I must have dreamt that the clocks had changed. And it wasn't, in fact, the clocks had changed.
But it's also to do with kids especially having more light during the day.
I'd keep it in the dark.
But I mean, you know, we've got electricity. We've got street lamps.
They're not looking at the sky
exactly.
anyway.
This is a nonsense. We should get rid of it. It's out of date.
No,
Some American
I
states have decided to do it.
Yeah.
Some of them now don't change the clocks at all.
Well,
Depending on the
for them.
state or their state taxes.
Well, I don't know which states are doing it, but there's about 5 or 6.
We should all do it. It's
Going
ridiculous.
back to your imaginary clocks, was rosé involved in that in any way?
No, this was in the morning.
You know, I ask again.
I would have had some rosé the night before. Yeah,
exactly.
But I had a decent night's sleep. It wasn't as if I was delirious.
No, okay. Well, look, I want to move on, and I want to move on to something which I experience, I would say, 2 or 3 times a day.
Right.
Because I like coffee.
Right.
And I go to. I mean, I would go so far as to say I'm a bit of a coffee ponce.
Are you?
And I go to specialist
You go to those
places.
fancy places?
I go to the fancy places because I like good coffee.
Okay.
And I am regularly asked, dairy? It's like, no, I just coffee with milk in it.
Milk, yeah.
Dairy?
Yeah, but there's a lot of different types of milk now.
Yes.
Well, no, there isn't. There's only one kind of milk.
There's only one kind of milk. The rest of them are milk alternatives.
Yeah.
The thing is, have you ever met anybody who has a milk alternative?
Oh, yeah, my wife.
They're not shy of telling you that they have
They're like
milk
vegans, aren't they? They're like
Yeah.
vegans.
Exactly.
They've got
How
to
do you know
tell
if
you
someone's
they're
a
all
vegan?
the way.
They'll tell you.
Oat milk latte, a coconut milk latte.
It's not milk.
An
I
almond
get-
milk.
I get sent
You
into-
cannot milk a nut.
No, you
I
can't.
get sent into cafes by my wife to buy her let me get this right, an oat milk chai latte. Oat
What's
milk
even in that?
What have
chai
you done?
latte.
What have
What's
you
in
done
there?
to that
I don't
woman?
know.
I
What
don't
have
even
you
know.
done
I thought
to that
chai
woman,
was-
Kev,
So,
to make her order
I used to
that?
not ask for it on the basis that I didn't imagine that they would have it.
Right.
But she said, you've got to ask it. So,
Is it the 10 years
and they
in
just
LA?
go, they don't turn a head.
Is it the 10 years in LA?
No. London's worse than LA.
I thought chai was a form of tea.
It is.
So why are you calling it a latte then?
Because that's what they do. They latte it up. They make it foamy.
No,
but it's like...
But they make it foamy.
But
do
my point with all of this is,
FOMO.
if I go up to you and I say, I'll have a flat white,
Yeah.
right?
That's just a white coffee.
Naturally assume I want normal milk.
Yeah.
Unless I say, I'd like an oat milk latte.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, so why do you have to
that's
call it a
what-
flat white? Why can't you just call it a white coffee?
Look, that's a whole different conversation.
Well, here you go. Here's how to throw the entire Starbucks staff into absolute chaos.
Yeah.
Walk into a crowded shop and say, "I'd like a cup of coffee, please."
Yeah.
And leave it at that.
Yes.
They just
Yes.
will not understand what you mean.
Well,
Or black coffee is particularly bothersome. It has to be an Americano.
Americano. Yeah, where did that come
Well, yes. I'll have a black coffee.
Yeah.
Americano,
Have a black
long
coffee.
black.
No, I just want a black coffee.
from? Yeah. And now they do
know.
Americano with milk.
Yes.
So that's just
That's
coffee
not-
with milk.
That's-
Got there in the end.
Sorry. In that case, Kev,
ridiculous.
dairy.
Oh, God.
Dairy.
Do you remember
Would
that
like
stuff
dairy?
that powdered milk we used to have?
Yeah?
Yes.
That you used to put in. What was
Coffee
that called?
tastes nicer with coffee, mate.
Coffee, mate. That was it.
Yeah, well,
Can you still get that?
Yeah.
My mother sent me to the when I was a kid. Sent me to the supermarket to get some coffee, mate. And I said to the guy in the aisle, the shop guy, I said, "Excuse me, where's your coffee, mate?" And he just took me to the coffee.
Yeah. Well, he would have done, I suppose. There you
That's
go,
the way.
mate.
There you go, mate. There's
There's
coffee,
the
mate. Dairy. Piss off, mate.
Dairy,
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah.
Dairy, mate.
Dairy, mate. People who say they're on their break.
Yes, this is a relatively fresh one for me. This.
Oh, is it?
This was this week. I was in a well-known supermarket chain, which I don't normally go to. And I was buying a couple of things, and they were quite large things. I was buying... Sorry.
Oh, dear.
What were you buying?
Oh, dear.
I was buying pillows, right?
Oh.
In a supermarket?
Yes.
Were you in the centre aisle at Aldi?
No, it wasn't that one. It wasn't. No.
I'm just off the supermarket. I've got to get a couple of pillows.
It's just so ridiculous. But
what,
anyway.
in the trolley?
There's a man in aisle 9 seems to be packing out his trolley with pillows. Keep your eye on
bloke
him.
with the pillows in the trolley. Watch out for him. He looks dodgy.
I didn't have a trolley. I just had a couple of pillows.
It's even worse.
There's a bloke looking to get a quick 40 wink.
I wish I was there.
I think you were the one on the break, weren't you?
Imagine if me and Mark happened to walk into that super. Is that Mike over there with a couple of pillows?
Anyway, so I went to this self-serving place, where you just you use a card. Just a card, So I went over for pillows.
How much were they?
Quite expensive, actually.
Pricey pillows. Mike's pricey pillows.
I got one which had a sort of copper thing in it, which keeps you cool, apparently. It was 20 quid for that.
Very good.
Anyway, so there's a guy standing next to the place where I'm about to pay. And I put...
For your pillows.
I put the first pillow down, and it took up the whole space.
Unexpected item in the bagging area.
So and this guy's standing there, and I said, "Excuse me," I said, I think I'm going to need I'm going to need some help with the other pillow. And he went...
What did he say? Exactly how many pillows have you got?
And he said, "I'm terribly sorry, I'm on my break."
Oh, come on.
Sorry. He'd just been helping somebody else, right? When you can't get out because somehow hasn't recognised anything. He said, "You'll have to ask one of my colleagues." And I'm going, what? And so at this point, I just put
Do you know what it was?
Yeah.
He recognised you from TalkTV.
You think that was
he
it?
He said, "I'm not helping
Didn't
him.
want to talk to me.
I'm not helping that bigot with his pillows."
He thought, bugger this, I can't be arsed with these pillows. I'll just tell him I'm on my break.
So I put the other pillow on top of the other one, and it was I had to sort of hold it there so that while it was measuring. Anyway, that's...
Now, hold on. On another note, as you've started to laugh, almost David Blaine-esque, something has appeared out of your breast pocket.
Oh, yeah.
This is
What
my
is it?
parking ticket.
Oh, it's his parking ticket. It's not his pillow reclaim voucher.
Yeah, very comfortable the new pillows are as well.
That's good.
Yeah.
And the copper thing, how does
The
that
copper
work?
thing, well, I don't know.
Oh, we don't care.
All right.
There we go.
There we are. Anyway.
Actually, I am quite
asking.
interested, but perhaps another
Because
time.
it keeps you cool in the summer.
But copper, is it you supposed to... Oh,
Well,
I thought you wore copper around your wrist for rheumatism.
Really?
Well, you could do that as well if you want. Be enmeshed in copper.
If in doubt...
Thousands of copper.
If in doubt, wrap yourself in copper.
No,
It's cold. It's cold to the touch. It's
Okay,
weird.
interesting.
It's good.
All right.
Yeah. But don't buy it from a supermarket, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, if you drink enough wine, you wouldn't notice, would you, Kev?
No, you wouldn't.
But...
Well, I'll tell a story. This is my grump about the cost of wine in a London pub. So it's just Saturday morning just gone. It's not often I wake up with a spring in my step, but I did because Fulham were playing Crystal Palace in the quarter-final of the Cup. The sun, it wasn't a cloud in the sky. Beautiful. And it's fantastic. And when you go to Fulham, if you're aware of it, you walk down this towpath for about a mile. You see the ground shimmering in the distance. Fantastic. So I stop off at this pub.
Lovely picture.
Yeah, really lovely. I was really in a great mood. What could possibly go wrong? So I went to this pub right by. I won't name it because I'd rather like it as a pub, but I'm not keen on their prices. So it's right on the river by Hammersmith Bridge. And I sat down and I thought, what the hell? I'll admit, I got a large glass of rosé, French rosé. And the girl, it's quite an early kickoff. Kickoff is 12:15, so it's only about 11 a.m. And the girl goes off, brings it back and says that'll be £18.90.
Sorry, how big was the glass?
£18.90.
How big was the glass?
Well, it was a what they call a large glass.
250 mil? 250 mil?
Well, yeah, just a normal glass. But
You can get like half a bottle of wine.
I mean, I'm not
for
saying it was a
glasses.
small glass of wine, but £18.90 for a
ridiculous.
single glass of wine.
What kind of wine was it?
It was a French rosé, a Provence rosé.
A nice blush.
I think it's that
nice
one
pale
called
blush.
Low.
It wasn't one of the fancy ones.
Well, yeah, it kind of was. It was called Low. I mean, the Provence
Price
one...
wasn't low, was it?
The Provence one...
Nothing about this is low.
How much does the high one cost?
So anyway, I drank it. I drank it rather reluctantly anyway. Well, in fact, I cherished
didn't have more than
I
one.
cherished every drop.
You didn't have
no,
more than
I
one.
didn't have a second. Staggered up to the ground. But I should have known that was a bad portent. Got to the ground and the bastards beat us 3-0. 3-0 to Crystal Palace. What kind of a life is that?
Shocking.
Well, I mean, look, I think there is inflation, but that sounds like Saturday game day prices to me.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah,
surge
absolutely.
pricing. Do they do that?
Surge
now in
pricing.
pubs?
Surge pricing.
Just opportunist pricing. When I was in LA when they had the earthquake, 1995, massive earthquake, everybody out of their homes and everything, shops all shut, everything, huge shortages. I finally managed to get into the local supermarket to get a bottle of water because water wasn't running. Got a bottle of water, $40.
Wow.
That was 1995.
You're
Opportunist pricing.
You're very lucky you weren't looking for a pillow, Kev. That's all I can say. Now, I want to complain about a new phenomenon.
Yes.
Which is the digital salesman.
Is it like a virtual salesman?
Well, no. Do you remember the days when a salesman would travel somewhere?
Yes.
He'd turn up with his card and he'd go, I'm selling this.
And
If you'd like some,
they were
please
usually in a
call this
Vauxhall,
number.
weren't they?
Yeah, in a Vauxhall, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, Calibra.
Yes.
Depending on how
Well,
how
Calibra was a bit
successful-
flash for that.
Depending on
top
how
salesman.
Depending on how successful
Yeah.
they were. The Cavalier, probably.
Yes.
Or the Ford Mondeo.
The Cavalier, definitely, yeah.
However, now they just email you.
Yes.
I was wondering if I could interest you, and once you see that, you just delete.
Junk.
Right? But then the same guy, just popping this back to the top of your inbox. No.
Why?
Third time's a charm.
What?
They relentless.
And what are these
what
guys
happened
selling?
to me was
What are they
happened to me was I had somebody, a team member at work, who thought it would be a brilliant idea to put me on LinkedIn. That was a terrible idea.
That's never a good idea.
Especially with open details.
Yeah.
Please, if anyone is watching, don't feel the need to. I never look at it. Anyway, so that I now get endless digital salesmen trying to sell me everything from till systems, water solutions, insurance, all that kind of thing. But it's
Pillows.
the thing where
Pillows.
if you don't get an answer the first, no pillows. Pillows, definitely.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm a
But
pillow.
is that
I prefer to
thing-
buy them in person.
But it is that thing
From the
of
supermarket.
I'm putting it up to the top of your inbox. Do you remember they would turn up, they'd give you the card, and you go, thank you. And just so they could see, you'd throw it in the bin as they were walking away. So they knew not to come back.
Right.
You weren't interested. Or you could look them in the face and go, no.
Right.
I haven't got the time to email you
No,
to
of
say,
course not.
please leave me alone.
So it is Talk, it is Drive Time, Monday through the week from 4 p.m. The show that's going to be about you. It's not about us. This is the home of common sense. The things that matter in your everyday life. The issues that resonate with you. Spent 2 years talking at you. I want you to talk at me. I'm tired. I'm getting old. Make it talk. The home of common sense. We're going digital. Make sure you're ready. Drive Time with JK is on Monday through the week from 4 p.m. Do join us.
This is a woke-free zone. If you're woke, get out. If they expand the ULEZ zone any further, it's going to be in the sea. No one's going to work anymore. Everyone's at home. They're all sick. It's absolutely ridiculous. Can anyone get me onto a flight to Rwanda? I fancy a holiday. Have you seen the trains lately? No, neither have I. It's straight talking. It's no nonsense. It's common sense all the way. Tune in to Morning Glory with Mike Graham for opinions you won't hear anywhere else.